What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Deluxe cabinet that we deserved, but not the one we got. At least if the leaks are to be believed, which I'm pretty sure they are because they came from Arcade1up themselves. Yes, the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Deluxe is more inspired by the X-Men 97 cartoon that's coming out and not the arcade classic game itself. So I thought they could have done better, but since they won't, we can do better. What if we took that new Dynamo HS5 inspired design, the Capcom Deluxe that just came out, and what if we put the guts of an original Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet inside that? What would that cost? Could you do that on the cheap? Now, usually you would think, well, this is not a cheap mod at all. You got to buy two cabinets. But back in December when the Capcom Deluxe debuted, it debuted for $399 and then $299. I mean, it was really dirt cheap, especially for a brand new cabinet. So if you were able to pick this cabinet up for $299, and you happen to have the original Marvel vs. Capcom 2 sitting around, this is feasible. But anyway, we're going to do it regardless of how crazy it is, because I think that they really could have gone this way and made a better looking cabinet. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. All right, so here we are smack dab in the middle of the assembly on the new Street Fighter 2 Deluxe cabinet. And here is the donor cab. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. What is it going to take to swap this thing over for as cheap as possible? That's the thing. We want to minimize the amount of stuff we have to buy. So the first thing we're going to do is, once we get to the step in your assembly where you have to assemble or install the monitor, you want to take off that bezel and swap it out with this one. Now the measurements should be all the same. It is plain black, but it is better than spending about 50 bucks to get a replacement bezel artwork. And since, like I said, this is not branded in any way, this would work for really any swap over, but it's going to definitely work for us right now. So let's go ahead and get this out. Unfortunately, we can't just take the control panel off. We're going to have to lay this on its side and then have access to that bezel. This is a better design, I think, in my personal opinion. The reason I have to take this off is because of that fastener right there. Now I know seems like a lot of work, but come on, 50 bucks is 50 bucks. Double-sided tape will put you over there. Let's just see if the holes line up and the placement of the marquee or the bezel inside. Wow. Well, thank you Arcade1up for making this pretty much universal. Now the only thing is going to be a notch right here we may have to cut in this overlay, but for right now let's go ahead and just cinch it down. And that's something we have to do, we can do in place, but all the holes are going to line up. It looks like the monitor is going to line up perfectly. Okay, so I've done the PCB swap. You can tell this is a little bit larger. This is the MVC2 PCB. This is the stock Street Fighter. Just did the swap. There's going to be some concern from some people of, hey, I got this extra cable here, so does that mean I have to swap over the encoder? No. This is just for the headphone jack, which we are not going to use. So we can take this off, and it's funny, the Street Fighter cabinet actually has, or the Street Fighter PCB actually has the same connector here. So if you wanted, for whatever reason, to retain that functionality on the new cabinet that has, or comes equipped with the headphone jack, you're good to go. All right, so with all that cleared up, let's go ahead and bolt this back together and continue on. Okay, so the big question doing the swap is, hey, how much stuff can I save? How much stuff do I have to buy to make this conversion work? And one of the things was definitely going to be the marquee, because this is a beautiful reverse printed piece, one of the better looking marquees from Arcade1up. So it would have been nice to use it, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to. This is the stock marquee for the Capcom Deluxe, and while the width is fine, that's no big deal, the height is a bit of an issue. This is a good 3/4 of an inch difference here, so that's just not going to be able to work. So I did go ahead and have a second one printed up, or a new one printed up. It's going to, you can see it's really close to the original, not reverse printed, so you're not going to have that glossy front there, but it is going to be the same type of marquee that I have on the Alien vs. Predator cabinet. So for me, it's going to work just fine. So everything inside the cabinet looks stock, looks like it should be, and I did have to cut out the bezel here to match this notch. just to make sure that I had plenty of room for the cable.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes.
Okay, everybody, so there you have it. My Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Deluxe. Who did it better? Arcade1up or 19K Fox? I kind of like mine better, but I am a little bit biased. So at the end of the day, what did this cost me? We did have to buy the Marquee. We did have to buy the side art. I just went with a 12 by 12. You could probably go a little bit shorter. You need 12 inches wide, but maybe 8 or 10 inches, I think you probably get away with it. But 12 by 12 will give you the flexibility to kind of move that side art up and down just a little bit. Now, you could obviously go crazy and get full side art if you want to, but we're trying to keep the cost low. So, considering the Marquee that was printed on plexiglass when it was shipped to me from Game On Graphics, also the two side art pieces, 12 inches by 12 inches, also from Game On Graphics, that only cost me $74. That was with shipping and everything. And then, of course, the cost of the cabinets themselves. And we talked about that before in the beginning of the video. If you got this thing for $299, that was kind of a steal. I think at the end of the day, this is definitely the way that they should have gone. And it is the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Deluxe that we deserved. But not the one we're, unfortunately, probably going to get. And as a side note, if you maybe you're in the market for a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet that happens to have a Street Fighter PCB in it, have I got a deal for you. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see all of you next time.